We are back. It is not the next day, but 2 days later. I wound up having to go to Lexington, Kentucky to help one of our customers out last night. I got back about 4 o'clock today. So, let's get back to it. Whenever I left, figured out how to get that off. So now I just got to figure out how to get the rest of this gas tank off. So it looks like this, I think this is just like a breather hose or a vent hose for the gas on the left side. That is it. There comes down. I'm pretty sure that's it there, and it just comes out the bottom. You could, if you wanted to take all this crap off, you could probably pull it out if you wanted to, but I don't think we have to. I do still have to figure out how to get this off. I could break this squeeze clamp and get it off. I don't think we have any that small at work. I'd have to order some. But I want to see if I want to figure out where this goes and see if I can just pull this whole thing out or if it's connected on the other end to something. Alright, the only thing I'm seeing is, I think this might go down to, looks like there's it goes down onto the motor somewhere. I don't know if it's vacuum or what, but I think there's like a pinch clamp, or this is what I would call a squeeze clamp, like a quick disconnect pinch clamp where it hooks into. So what I'm going to try to do, I think all that's really holding this on is there's this bolt, and then there's the same one on the other side. So I'm going to try to take those loose and see if that will free the tank up to move. I think. That's all I can see that would be holding it. But I don't understand how this thing could move forward unless there's some stuff I got to unhook on this. I don't remember the service manual saying anything about that. That seems pretty solid. I don't know. Let me bust these loose and we'll see if things start wiggling. Alright, bolt on this side came out pretty easy. Like, you can actually get your Allen wrench in there. It's galvanized bolt, already pretty rusty. So, I don't know, I may get a different finish bolt to replace that with. I don't care for how rusty it already is. The one on this side, you don't really have room to use the short end of the Allen key. So if you're going to do it, you could use the long end. And then, a pair of channel locks or crescent wrench or something. How do I? Yeah, and then you take your wrench, do that. It would help to have a pretty, I don't like, especially on smaller stuff, I don't like doing that because you always risk, if it's ball end Allen wrenches that you have, you always risk busting that ball off if you have really crappy ones. So that's always a risk. If you're in a shop, of course you could use a socket or something, but if you were doing this out on the trail, I guess that'd be what you have to do. Alright, it looks like this panel, it looks like it's not part of the tank, so somehow it should come off. So far I see this clip here, if you can see that. I think maybe there's a bolt right here. Maybe both these bolts. I don't think there's anything really, because this back end seems pretty loose. So I think whatever is holding it on, yeah. Yeah, now that I got that clip loose, that just looks like some kind of little made-in tab. I bet there's a bolt. I bet you it's one of those, either one or both of those bolts I was looking at earlier are gonna have to come out, and then maybe I can snake this. Uh-oh, there's that tab, or that pin I just busted loose that fell out. Okay, so let me try taking those two. Well, I'll try taking the one out, and then I'll take the other one out. We'll see if this will come out. I think if this can come out, then I should have room to bring the tank forward and get it off of these back here. Looks like there's an additional clip. There. I didn't see it before. Alright, yeah, after I pulled that last clip out, that fairing come off. So that wasn't that bad. Figured it'd be worse. In fact, I don't know, a couple times a year I could do this and actually clean some of this shit. Alright, I gotta do the other side now, but it should be just the same stuff, but on the right hand. Alright, so we're just over here on the other side. I think I got everything loose, so you just kind of gotta ease that fairing out. Did I miss something? And it comes right out. Pretty good fit. Probably gonna be looks like it's got a little tab right here to help you line it up there. So that's cool. Probably while I got all this stuff off, I'll clean it a little bit. Alright. Now we got all that done. The front of the tank is loose. The rear, I don't think there should be anything else holding the rear on. No, it's coming forward slowly. I guess it's just a pretty snug fit on these rubber bushings. I don't know. Those don't feel like they're supposed to come off. So I'm gonna try to push the tank forward so I can lift it up and see if I can get better access to be able to take this hose up here off where it connects to the motor, because I can't do that right now. So better be careful not to push it off the center stand. Engage my brake. Alright, shouldn't go anywhere now. Fucking hose is tight. Oh, another thing while I'm here, looks like down here on the bottom or the front right hand side of it. I think this might be your fuel level sensor. So I need to cut this loose. That looks like the connector for it right there. So I need to go ahead and do that. Okay. Just went and consulted the service manual. It looks like they show that you're supposed to cut this off. So I'll just have to find another 1/8 inch clamp to replace that with. You've never had to take these off before? You don't have to have like the end crimper pliers that do it like that. You can use just a set of side cutting pliers. The main thing I'd want to make sure of is this plastic or steel. Feels like plastic. If it was steel, you could just kind of grab a hold of it and twist it a little bit and it'll just break right off. But if it's plastic, you'd probably break the nipple doing that. Let's see. Yeah, that's plastic. So what we want to do instead is actually have a big enough set of pliers to like grab and squeeze on it and break it. So I've got some, I think these are 10 inch. So I should be able to, you probably want to put on a pair of glasses for this. I'll just use my safety squints this time. Just have a big enough set of pliers and you can break it off. Like I said, since this nipple appears to be plastic, I wouldn't try to grab it and twist it. Otherwise, you're having to buy a new filler cap. Looking at this connector for the fuel lever sensor, it looks like it's just staked on. You can get my flashlight out. Yeah, you can see it. I hope you can see it. It looks like this has got like a little tombstone that sticks up, and then this connector just slides down over it. So I'm having trouble getting on these tabs. I don't know. I think this bottom piece is supposed to come out, but I don't have anywhere to get a good purchase on it without maybe damaging the wires. So I think it needs to come off this little tombstone in the back, and then I should be able to disconnect these. Alright, so it's this stuff that pisses me off. Like, you can see that is loose. So somehow you got to squeeze this thing or do something to get it to turn loose of that little tombstone that it's hanging on. It's not free. They don't give you a whole lot of room. Like, you can see the top of it up here. So somewhere you gotta squeeze it, or you gotta get something in there to pry on that to get it to turn loose. Okay, I think I got it now. So what I wound up having to do was I got a got this size screwdriver. I thought it was maybe that is a 4mm. And I wound up running it up in here and just kind of twisting and working my way up. And then I grabbed the connector and it started coming up. So looks like you just got to pry it out a little bit and then this thing will come off. So now maybe I can get this to come apart without fucking it up. Okay, just got the tank off. Looking at this connector, this has to come off of that little stake or tombstone or whatever you want to call it. But the actual release to get it to turn loose of the other plug that it's plugged, or the other side of the plug that is plugged into this, is inside here. You can see it's just like a little tab right there. Alright, now tank is off. So, going from the top down, I think the next logical thing to take off would probably be the intake air filter box here. So it looks like I got a bolt here, a bolt here, and then somehow these things have got, this has got a squeeze clamp on it. I don't know how the intake tubes come out though. They look like they just, surely they don't just pop up in there. If this doesn't come off, got a little electrical connector here. It's like maybe 2 tabs. Yeah, it comes right out. It gets clipped in that little channel right there. Okay. Don't have to unbolt this tube. It's on this little tab on the frame. So, yeah, take these 4 bolts out. I don't know, maybe this is like bolted down to there. I would think there's some way that it, yeah, because it looks like this tube goes all the way up into here. So I think after I get this off, I can just kind of like manipulate this and pull these out of there. Then we'll go from there. These little, they're 8mm head. So, looks like a 5mm bolt. They're pretty tight whenever I took them out. This washer doesn't look like it's going to come off. So I'm pretty sure these are going to have like a torque spec to them. So might want to look that up. Also, an amendment to the intake mounting bolts. There are only 3. There's 1 on the right side, 2 on the left side. Should be able to use a pair of needle nose. Take that off. Should just squeeze. Pull it off the flange. There we go. That's out. Actually, looking at it some more, these don't look like they're over center. They look like squeeze clamps. So AF1 did not give me new ones of those. But what it looks like is, I think if I take this bracket off, I can get to this bolt, and then there's another one back there, and it's the same way on both of them. If you can see that. So those look like they mount this tube down to this flange here. So I think that's probably what I'm going to try to do, is take this off. If I can keep it, I need to watch the screen to see what I have in frame. I need to take this off, and I think that holds this connector on. I think this might be the ECU connector. So I think I can take that loose, get access to these bolts with a ball end, and maybe I can bust that loose. And then maybe this whole thing will come off and I won't have to cut these loose. So let me try that. Okay, the next section you're about to watch, I'm wrong. You can take the clamps off of the throttle tubes going down to the throttle bodies. What you need to look for is this thread in AF1 or the Aprilia form, and this will go over how to remove these clamps. I thought they were the auditor style clamp, but they're not. These are removable. You can take them off, you can put them back on, but there is a special tool that you'll need. So you can start with this thread and look at it. there's also this other thread here. If you wanted to make your own tool, they kind of go over how to do it. Pretty much they're just getting a 45-degree pair of needle nose and modifying it with a file. You can also look up this part number. So this is the style. On the Tuareg, it uses this click R. So you can buy this style. They've got this style, and then Knipex also makes one. I think, yeah, for click clamps. So ideally, for taking them off and putting them back on, you would need one of these kind of special tools for that. If you didn't want to make or if you wanted to, you could make something like this. Like I said, this is a thread name here. It's in the Tuono V4 chat. You should be able just to search for that and find it. So I'm coming back and appending these things as I figure them out. So I'll be re-uploading this video again now that I know this. So the good thing, being able to take those clamps off will give you good access to the back clamps that I was having trouble getting to in the portion of the video that you see after this. So I would definitely, going into this, you know, probably pick up one of these tools, whether the Knipex or the Lyle. You know, I purchased a set of the Lyles. I don't really want to spend $70 on a tool that's only good for one exact thing. So I rolled the dice. I'm gonna try the $15 Lyle tool first, just to see how it goes. So yeah, figured I'd come back and update some information. And that's, as far as I know, that's the only thing. I'm at the point now where I've got to get this figured out, and then I can put the fuel tank back on. So this is the only thing that I know of that I have to come back and update so far. Oh, man. Alright. So this stuff kind of worries me. So I just tried loosening this just with the long end. It's pretty tight. So I'm going to try it with the short end just to see how tight it feels. Make sure I'm in there good. Don't want to strip that. Okay. It's moderately tight, but I don't think it's so tight that on these back ones, if I were to use the long end to get in there, because that's going to be the only way, is to use a ball end. I mean, it felt like probably 20 foot-pounds. I could go check the manual to see what it says, but for a, so that is a button head. If it is this size, it'd be an M6 screw, I think, for a button head. So probably whatever the torque, it's probably torqued to just whatever the bolt spec is. I'll put that up here if I look it up whenever I'm editing this, but I would almost bet that's what that value needs to be. So keep that in mind. If you use the ball end on these back ones, I definitely wouldn't start just like cranking on this. These ball ends, I've had a few of them snap off at work in something, and they're a total nightmare to try to get out of there, especially when it's something hard to reach, like way back there. And honestly, if you did break it off, I mean, it's a button head bolt. It ain't like you can get a pair of channel locks or anything back there on it. You can kind of see it from over here. Maybe. Can I? Will it focus? It's right there. It's right there. Can I get? Okay, let me mess with it. But I think that's going to be the play, is loosening these up, and then this should, maybe I can pull this whole thing off of here after I do that. So let me try that. Also, a side note, the way these bolts pop loose on the intake, they snap loose, almost like they had a little bit of thread locker on them. Probably some blue, maybe pink, but should tell me if it has that in the service manual, I would think. Alright, that worked, and now I've got one little clip up here on the front that has to come off. Use the needle nose. Let's set y'all down for a minute. Oh. Maybe where you can see something. Ah. Let's try back here. And airbox is free. Oh. Let's not lose that. Where'd the hose go? There it is. It is dirty in here. I bet if I'd have took the radiator off first, I could have got that off without pulling that off. So, live and you learn. But there's the throttle bodies. A little oily. Looking at it some more, that is some, I got some dust in here at some point. I bet I know when it happened. At one point, I had changed the air filter out from the paper filter to one of the uni filters, I think, from Australia. And it came, and it said it was pre-oiled, that I didn't need to oil it or anything like that. So I greased the seal. I think I used like a marine grease or something. And I ran it for one ride, and it was a very, very dusty ride. It was September of last year. It was dry. I was riding behind a bunch of people, and I was a little worried about it. So whenever I got home, that was the first thing I did, was pop the filter out, and I did have quite a bit of dust in here. So ever since then, I cleaned the inside out and put the paper filter back in, greased the seal on it, and it has been doing better. Like, you know, whenever I first started on this project, there was a little bit of dust in there, but it was nothing compared to how much the uni filter let in. And I'm sure there's going to be people saying, you know, oh, you should have put more oil on it or whatever. But, you know, it came from them. It said it was pre-oiled. You know, why should I have to oil a filter that they've already oiled? So I don't know what happened, but I think that's what all this stuff here is. So I'll go ahead and clean that up while I'm in here. But yeah, that's what that is, and that's probably why it's in there. Alright, I got most of the junk out of there. Still got some dust the inside, or on the outside of this O-ring. I may have to pull that O-ring, stuff something down in here, and just maybe blow this out really, really good. I mean, obviously I could clean it better. So maybe we'll do that later. For right now, I'm just going to take a couple rags, stuff down in here to make sure nothing works its way past that somehow. That would be bad. Alright, intake is off. I'll have to clean all this shit up later. Got all my hoses and everything that I took off, blocked off. There's one there, there's one there. Just to keep anything from getting down into them. So now, I think I need to take the radiator off. So there's a mounting screw there. There's a mounting screw there. Unless there's something I'm not seeing, I may just go ahead and take it completely off. I know in the manual it says just to like pull it up here and tie it to the thing, but it would probably be easier to drain the coolant out of it if I pop this this clamp down here off. And like I said, unless there's something I'm not seeing, take this bolt, there will be a clip for the fan back here. It has to come off, but I can't get to it until I take the radiator off. But it looks like it's just four bolts. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Look at that. Made in Italy fans. Nice. Alright. I'll probably do that. I'll probably drain the coolant, see if I can pull the radiator off, and then I'm going to call it a night for tonight. We'll get back to it tomorrow. Also, these are 8mm. Looks like. So, been surprised I haven't had to pull out a whole lot of tools to get this far. I mean, really, the craziest tool I've had to pull out's a T20 Torx. Everything else has been screwdrivers and 8mm and some Allen wrenches. So I like that. I don't really care for some of the way they do their fuel lines and their electrical connectors, but one thing I always like to say is, you know, the first time doing something is the worst time doing something. So you learn a lot, and it also helps to see someone else do it. So that's kind of why I wanted to make this video. So whenever you go to do it, you know. Also, be ready to be making a big mess when you do get that bottom radiator hose off. So I'll keep some rags around. A lot of it came from the water pump here. Not a whole lot. I mean, I left the cap on up here because I figured that would slow it down, but most of it came out of the water pump. That's what's on the ground right now. I should have had a lower profile catch can down here. So, yeah, live and you learn. These hoses, I mean, this bike's only a year old, but these hoses are being kind of a pain in the dick to get off, so I'm just taking a screwdriver. Just kind of working my way around it to get them loosened up. It's pretty warm right now, so if you were doing this in the winter, you might want to hit them with some heat, I would think. Like a heat gun, or I wouldn't hold a lighter or anything to them, but hair dryer, you know, just something to heat the rubber up. It'd be a lot less compliant when it's cold. Same thing on these radiator hoses. I don't want anything crawling down in there or building the home in there, so I'm gonna cover those up, you know, just like I got here. Anywhere where I don't want anything going, I'm gonna cover it up so nothing gets comfortable down in there. All right, I'm on the left side of the bike. Here's a radiator. I just noticed there's this little alternate hose here, and it comes over to here. So if I'm going to fully take the radiator off the bike, I'm going to go ahead and drop this off as well and cover it up. Alright, left side radiator mount bolts seem to be identical, top and bottom, same length. Not a lot of corrosion, so that's good. They might have had pink Loctite on them, if anything. I mean, I don't see anything indicating that, but they're on a rubber mount, so probably wouldn't be bad to go back with some, you know, a little dab of blue or pink when we get there. Also, these elbows on the radiator, everything here looks aluminum, so I wouldn't like start yanking on these trying to get them off. I would get a very fine screwdriver and try to get up under that and try to, you know, get it work loose before you started trying to pull this off. Otherwise you're liable to fuck this up. I doubt radiators on this bike are cheap. Yeah, so just get a small screwdriver and just kind of work your way around. Maybe stretch it out a little bit. Then after that it should, oh, she's loose. Loose like a goose. I can't hold this in. Can I? Nah, I think that big. Can I? That's aluminum. It won't stick there. Maybe. I don't think you're seeing anything from there. Can I get it to balance? Ah! No. Stay there. Maybe I'm in frame. Yeah. That one's off. Need the label. That is being the top. So I'm gonna do same treatment. I'm just gonna stick a rag over it, but I'm gonna label this one as the top one, this one as the middle one, this one is the bottom one. I don't know what each one does, but I'm sure they want to go back to the same spot. Okay, I just noticed on this side that's not even a bolt, it's just a stud that this slides over, so you don't even have to unthread anything on this side. Okay, looks like The fan connector is here. So gotta cut this zip tie loose, take this connector loose. The radiator should be clear to come out. Alright. So this connector is kind of the same as the fuel level sensor, the fuel level sensor on the other side. So this stays on the bike, but this connector is on another one of those little stakes back there. So I'm probably gonna have to do the same thing, pry it out a little bit, and then get a little screwdriver to get down in there and pry. All right, update. This fan has its own connector. This fan has a separate connector hidden up here. So handlebars inside. God damn it. It looks like it's on one of those same stake style connectors. That one looks like it has a zip tie on it. Those sneaky motherfuckers. Okay, so that one does not have a stake on it. The one that is up here. So it will need a small zip tie back on it when we put this back together to hold it in there. That's what those two little slots are for. I should have did this before I turned the lights off. Now you can see why I'm worried about bugs getting in here. They're fucking everywhere. So I think if we take a couple more hoses off, that'll help get us some better access in there. But I think we should have good access to take the valve cover off from here and get our measurement. So unless I run into anything else, this is going to be the end of the first video. You know, just taking the bike apart. So I'm going to get out of here for these bugs eating it to death.